Assalamualaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet again another edition of the S Stories right here on Sophiya Anjam's official YouTube channel. And I'm really quite excited about the show today. Let me tell you something. Ramzan का जो महीना है वो अमूमन बहुत सारे लोगों का favorite महीना होता है. And I think कि एक word अगर मैं use करना चाहूँ, that is very peaceful. You know, it gives me a lot of peace. It gives me a lot of calmness when I think about the beauty of this beautiful month called Ramzan. So on the show tonight, we have somebody very special. The reason why we're using the word special is because I have basically interviewed him before. And I think he is a wonderful motivational person. Very inspiring as well. तो आज जो है बहुत सारे हम उनसे सवालात करेंगे, बहुत सारे जवाबात जो है वो हम उनसे लेंगे. If you have any kind of a feedback, all you need to do is go ahead and subscribe right now. So I have a quote, and the quote goes something like this: that the beauty of Ramzan is to empty your stomach to feed your soul. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first up, Assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah.
Perfect, and it's such a pleasure to have you here again. This individual needs absolutely no introduction. Unka naam hai Maulana Shaykh Jahangir Sahb. He is a teacher. He specializes in education and strategy of teaching as well. He is a motivational speaker, Islamic research scholar, educationist in Pakistan. And मुझे याद है कि जब मैंने इनका इंटरव्यू किया था about 3 years ago, तो तब मैं भी पढ़ रही थी उनके बारे में. That in 2004, correct me if I'm mistaken, he founded the Society for Educational Research, and he's the author of not just 10, not just 20, but 25 books and papers. और सबसे मजे की बात ये है कि सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में नहीं, दुनिया भर से जितने भी लोग हैं उनसे बातचीत करते हैं. स्पिरिचुअल गाइडेंस जो है बहुत सारे लोग वो सीख करते हैं. So once again, welcome to the show. First and foremost, what is the importance of Ramzan? What is the history? What is the background?
Well, Ramadan, I like to call this a refresher course.
Okay.
I like to call this something that around the year we are busy in all sorts of things. We travel or we work and we have so much to do. And we also have a continuous attack by the shaitan on our nerves, and he's on our nerves all the time. The Ramadan comes to us as a refresher course.
True.
We now are going to have no shaitan. We're going to detox our bodies.
Right.
We're going to detox our souls.
Yes. True.
And we're going to charge our spiritual batteries for the next whole year.
Right.
So Ramadan literally comes to tame the animal inside us. And this animal, if you have any experience with horses, the best of the studs has to be physically starved,
Right.
and made to work hard in that starvation to be tamed.
Right.
So we're going to tame ourselves.
Right.
So we may be better human beings and rise above our animal instincts this month.
Absolutely wonderful. अच्छा ऐसे भी होता है ना Shaykh साहब that a lot of times people really do not want to learn and they don't really want to do anything about it. ऐसा होता है ना आप जितने मर्जी लोगों को बातें बता दें, no matter what you say, the person just does not want to watch. Have you encountered anyone like that?
Well, I have encountered many people, and
what to do is the question.
And the Prophet ﷺ, he prepared us for this. I think he told us that it's an unlucky man, an extremely unfortunate person who finds Ramadan, who gets into Ramadan and is unable to get all his sins forgiven in that time period.
Absolutely.
I think there can be no better motivation for someone, because why would someone not be interested?
True.
If he has even some belief or some faith inside him or her, it's usually depression. You feel that maybe I am so evil and I have done so many bad things and I am so far away from this thing. How can I be forgiven?
True. True.
But you see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not look at the actions. He looks at the hearts of people.
Niyat.
That's far more important.
True.
The actions are important, of course, but the real thing is the heart. Now I'm going to share something very interesting.
Sure.
There's a very long hadith which I'm going to share a part of, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's hadith al-Qudsi, which means Allah said this directly.
Right.
And He said that if a person commits a sin or sins, and he or she, they feel remorseful, but they don't ask Allah for forgiveness. They feel remorseful,
but they don't ask for
but they don't ask
forgiveness.
for forgiveness because whatever reason, Allah forgives their sins just because of that remorse they have. So never despair of Allah's His forgiveness, His will and His desire, and sometimes feels like that He wants to do this for us. So Ramadan is a very good time to give up so many things.
Absolutely. This is wonderfully put, you know. That's why I really wanted you over on the show, because nobody could actually quote so beautifully just like you did. So my next question is going to be the ashras. 3 ashre hote hain Ramzan mein. To unke bare mein hame bataiye. Starting with the first.
The first is the ashra of blessing of rahmah, then is of forgiveness, and then the final one is absolute freedom from the fire of hell.
Right.
The ashras, it is this division. It shows how complete a package of forgiveness is. That it starts with a blessing.
Right.
It brings you to forgiveness, and forgiveness to the level that it absolutely protects you forever from the hellfire.
Right. Right.
What really needs to be done? A lot of people are going to be on, I'm sure, on television and on the internet talking about the fadail of the Ramadan and how much it holds. But I'm going to give you a secret.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a secret.
I like the way that this conversation is going now.
The secret thing is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really wants. What really matters in the end is what sort of love in our hearts we had for the actions which we did for Him. And to explain that further, if someone is very close to you, someone you like, or someone you respect, someone who you value in respect, and the person would ask you to say cook dinner for him or her, or to buy dinner or buy something, you would go all out. You would give up everything else.
Yes, go the extra mile and
do
do something.
The extra mile
yes,
you have, right?
Yes.
And somebody who's not so important, you know, who perhaps you worked with many years ago, and you knew briefly, and then you finally meet you on the street one day and says, Sophiya, why won't you cook dinner for me? You would say, you know what, let's make it next year. And if you knew you have to do it, your heart would not be in it.
Right.
So it's all about putting your heart into what.
Right. That's what they say, put your heart and soul into anything, and you know, it's just magical. It's different. Fantastic. So now that you know, you've talked a little bit about the 3 ashras in particular, today let's talk about the importance of the first ashra in detail.
The first ashra is something which, from the perspective from the person who's fasting, you see you're full energy right now, you've got plenty of energy, and you are in full force, and you seek Allah's, the rahmah, the blessing from Him, and whatever you can do to get that blessing. Now what to do for that blessing? Of course you're fasting.
Right.
You're offering to a salah. And the real formula again comes from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, "O people, a great month is upon you. In the morning there's the fast, and at night there's the Quran. Right. So spend the mornings, spend the day in fasting, and spend the night in reciting." And when I say reciting, I assume, and of course assumptions are probably the mother of all mess-ups in this world. So I'm not going to assume people understand. When you say reciting, it means with understanding.
Right. You have to understand what you're reading.
Exactly.
Right.
So that way, at least once in a year, for the whole month, you go through the entire message of the Quran, you understand it completely, and you can even begin to implement in your life unless you understand. Now, in this ashra, the fast begins. What I would suggest to people, make some resolutions. Right. Make it before Ramadan if you
Not like the New Year resolutions, I might add, that never stick around.
Make a resolution.
Right.
Let's have a baby step. Let's make Ramadan, give up one bad habit and pick up one good habit. 30 days to practice it. Inshallah, rest of your life you'll be with a good habit.
This is a very balanced approach. I think this is great. Yes.
I'm going to be this step. If you're a tough person, make it 2, make it 10. But let's start with 1.
Right.
One simple habit. I have one bad habit, for example, backbiting.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a resolution. I'm not going to backbite, and I'm not going to even hear someone back.
Right. There you go. baby steps, like you said, something which is easily achievable and something which you can do also, because you know sometimes I think Shaykh Sahb, people probably get a little scared, you know, they think acha pata nahi hum kar sakenge ki nahi, hamare se hoga ki nahi, you know, it's too much of a responsibility, maybe it would change the kind of lifestyle I have or what I firmly believe in. But I think you're right that it's all about baby steps, one at a time.
So take a baby step, two things, one positive and one negative.
Got it.
Give up one, start one. And the other thing is, I love when people ask me, the non-Muslim, they say, the question they ask, how do you celebrate Ramadan? You know, especially our culture, I think we truly celebrate Ramadan.
We do.
We look forward to it.
We love it.
And we love all the processes it takes us through. The sehri we have together, the iftar we have together, but I don't think that we should turn this into a month of socializing with them. It's a wonderful thing. Keep the social networking and the social interaction with an immediate family.
Agreed.
Because this brings families closer. You know, somebody's up there making the parathas and somebody's bringing the food, and this is something that brings us closer.
And sharing a lot of thoughts also. You know, I'll tell you something, whenever it's Ramzan, I always text my brother. And my brother, mashallah, is very religious and I really look up to him also. And I always ask him, bhai, acha, mujhe na thodi confusion ho rahi is cheez ki, to mujhe koi aap kuch surah bataye jo main padhu, ya koi hadith hai jisse main seekh sakti hu. So I think people also get closer because that's what they share also. A lot, they want to listen to it. They want to read about it.
You know, something that I'm often blamed for is going off topic.
Yeah.
But it's something I can't resist, you know, talking about religious set.
Yeah.
I think that each one of us is religious. I think that all religious and spiritual people, we might express it differently. We might not give enough time as we might want to. Because you ask any person,
right,
I would say religious appearing or not religiously looking.
Right.
But if you ask them, are you giving enough time to Allah? And they will tell you, not really. So I think everybody is religious. Everybody is trying to do this.
In their own way.
In their own way. We should encourage people to do what they can do.
Right.
I remember Dr. David Brass' book, the title goes, he says, thank God I'm an atheist. So thank God I'm an atheist.
Right.
See how much it's important to everyone.
Right.
But it's just about finding your inner voice.
I agree. I think that's a very valid point also. So coming back to another question now let's talk about the essential elements of fasting, the do's and the don'ts for people.
Well, of course, we know there's no eating, there's no drinking, there's no intimacy of any kind.
Right.
But most importantly, the Rasul said that if a person is fasting and does not give up falsehood, lying, or what I like to call living a false life,
true,
and Allah is in no need of his hunger and his thirst.
Right.
If someone is fasting, it's not just about detoxing the body, it's also about detoxing your soul.
True.
And I would go so far as saying it's about detoxing your thoughts also. If you think pure thoughts, they will turn into better actions. In Ramadan, for example, if somebody verbally attacks you and you tell the person, don't do this, I'm fasting. Right? You may be fasting too, but I'm fasting, I'm not going to respond. So what does that teach you? That if your brother, and by brother or sister, I mean a brother or sister in the terms of the son of Adam and Eve.
Okay, of course.
They might attack you, but it's better to respond with something nicer than that.
With kindness.
It doesn't have to be a reaction to whatever they're doing. We don't have to be reactive every time. We can just hold. So taking your anger, coming down, learning empathy. Why do you fast at the beginning? One reason is so you can empathize with those who have no food around them.
Absolutely, yes. Of course.
I remember when my daughter was like 5 and she went to school, it was Ramadan, and I bought her something, an ice cream. And I hate that flavor, and I can't stand that flavor.
Which flavor? That's what I really want to know now. Have me curious.
It was blueberry, I think.
Okay.
But I was fasting, and I saw that blueberry ice cream, which I couldn't stand round the year.
Right.
And I was so interested if I could just taste one little, sip of that thing. And I realized, this we empathize with the poor people.
Right.
And we go through their starvation. When we sit in a restaurant and spend a lot of money on a meal, and right 10 steps away on the street, somebody hasn't had a meal for the last day maybe.
Right.
So it is to empathize, not just with the food and the drink, but with people's problems. We get irritable sometimes also.
Of course, not sometimes, I think most of the time, Shaykh.
So we can understand how other people can also be irritated.
Yes.
So empathy is something, it is instilled in us by Ramadan. So this fasting is just not as about food and drink and not drinking and not eating, but it's about learning to be about your own self. So I would suggest that give some time in Ramadan every day to reflect upon your own self.
True. I think this is wonderful. Speaking of reflection also, you just talked about the fact that it's like stepping into somebody else's shoes, and being in somebody else's shoes for a while just to see how they see the world, how they perceive the world, and the kind of hardships they face also, which brings us to charity and the importance of charity or Zakat in our religion, especially in Ramzan.
Well, every action you do in Ramadan, the reward multiplies. It goes up manyfold. So people become more charitable in Ramadan, and they'll prefer to give the zakat in Ramadan instead of the other part of the year.
Agreed.
I think that we have perhaps overdone this also.
Okay.
That we have restricted now the entire charity and the zakat to Ramadan only. But that's also a little too much because it should spread. It's good to be Ramadan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He makes the risk of his the food and the livelihood for people even better in Ramadan. But what we also need to do is spread this a bit. People, for example, send some money from abroad to my family to give the fidya for those who cannot fast. And I like to spend part of that on Eid day also. And after Eid, because around the whole month they have got lots of food and even spared food, but that is also important. So this charity should not be restricted from Ramadan.
Got it. And I think that's a very valid point also. Thank you for sharing that with us as well. अच्छा अब जो है शेख साहब एक बड़ा important सवाल आपसे पूछ रही हूँ, although हर सवाल important ही था, but for me I think it's also very I think it's very close to my heart because I think I've also observed this and experienced this in my life also. बहुत सारे लोग जो है they kind of judge you for everything in your life. Specifically when it comes to the month of Ramzan, people will judge you if you skip rosas. And I want to know that what is a punishment for people A who skip rosas, and secondly, there are different hardships people have to face also, exemptions to be made, exceptions to be made when it comes to people who are not able to fast. So can you elaborate on that also?
Well, first of all, we all must understand that whether somebody is fasting or not fasting, praying or not praying, observing the hijab or not observing the hijab, no one has a right to judge someone.
Agreed, absolutely.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed these specific things, one of the things into his own hand, this matter. Let's not judge anyone. This seems to have become our national pastime. Judging other people.
It's blown out of proportion, I feel, especially with the advent of the social media. People can do anything and get away with it.
And I think that this is really sad. And that is why the social media sometimes I like to call the anti-social media also. Because it starts going out of control and we start hurting others with our words and our attitudes, even our stares and our looks. This is something we should never do. About giving up the fast, for example, women who are in their monthly break and they can, of course, they don't fast, they will fast a day later. Women who are expecting or they are perhaps breastfeeding their children, they need a break, they need energy and they cannot fast. Elderly people sometimes. And then there's people who are ill, who are
on medication.
Certain medications which can be taken, intermittent medications can be taken. Some medications can be adjusted, that they can be taken before and after the fast. That can be done. But people who are really sick are of two kinds. One is a person who is permanently ill. for example, person with diabetes.
Okay.
And some diabetics do fast.
They do?
They can. Yeah. They can manage their
right.
when some cannot do it.
Right.
This is a permanent illness. These people are going to be diabetic of next year again. So they're going to give the fidya, which is feeding a person for a day, 2 meals.
Okay.
So 2 meals to a reserved person,
right.
that's the fidya for each fast.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Right.
And let me put something very important. It's the kind of food that you like to eat.
Okay.
So if you are a person who is otherwise having the steak, every second day and spending a few hundred rupees on every meal.
Right.
So don't give somebody, 30 rupees to go and eat it.
Right. It should be exactly the same. Right.
It should be what you like to eat.
Got it.
Share that kind of food per every fast.
Okay.
And then there's an illness which is temporary.
Okay.
I had a fever for 2 days, I couldn't fast.
Okay.
I was on an accident and I couldn't fast.
Right.
That fast will have to be made up afterwards.
Okay.
Now the third part of the question.
Okay. Yes.
Some people are just not motivated to fast.
Right.
So what do?
Right.
We motivate them.
Right.
Then they are motivated again. Let them be. The sad thing is that there are hadith Sanad where it says that if a person would know, if you would know what loss you have incurred by missing just one fast, without a reason,
Right.
of course without a reason, you would know that you could never make it up if you fasted for the rest of your life.
True.
But that's how serious this is.
True.
And yet if a brother or sister of ours does not want to do it, is not motivated, and we are unable to motivate them, remember 2 things. One, perhaps it is us who are not motivational enough.
Okay. Okay.
Perhaps I am not a person who is good at motivation. So
Okay.
maybe I don't have to, just because I'm telling him a verse of the Quran or a hadith, doesn't make it have to get right then and there.
Right.
The second thing is, which I like to tell people, that once you've done your bit nicely, in a nice and beautiful way, let people be. Give them time. I'll let you give an example. In the Battle of Uhud, Khalid bin Walid was part of the non-Muslim army. He came into and being a superb war strategist, he was able to finish off over 40 people of the Prophet's army, each of them a universe in himself. And how much must they have hated him at that time? And he turned the victory of the Muslims into a defeat for the Muslims. Who knew that a few years later, Allah would give him the title of Saifullah, that he is my sword? Who would imagine on that day when he was slaying these wonderful Muslim people? Who would imagine?
Yeah, that's true.
So give people time.
That is true.
Things turn around.
Absolutely. I would completely agree with that. So last question, last but not the least, तरावी जो है वो बहुत पसंद की जाती है when it comes to people जिन्होंने सवाब बहुत कमाना होता है, तो क्या importance है तरावी की रमज़ान में?
Well, we don't want to get into a fiqh debate, but I think you should consider Taraweeh as close to mandatory as you can.
Right.
This is not really optional.
Okay.
Because this has to be done. The Quran has to be recited every day. And the Taraweeh is the best available facility today because people don't understand the Quran that much and they don't remember much of it.
Right.
And most people, at least in our country, I think this is the only time in the year that they're going to go to the entire Quran at least once.
Right, absolutely.
So that chance shouldn't be missed.
Right, so there's no alternative to Taraweeh. Somebody cannot go out of their houses to the mosque every day to do it. Can they
if they cannot do it,
right,
then they must have it at home.
Okay, but
if they cannot do it.
Right.
If they cannot do it, but they must have it, of course. If you go to Taraweeh in the mosque, or you have your own Qiyamul Layl and you recite yourself, in both cases, I would urge people not to miss out on the real benefit of Taraweeh.
Absolutely.
And the real benefit is to go through Allah's message at least once a year. Don't just listen to it, come back. Before you go, read the translation of that day's portion. When you come back home, okay, come back home, read the translation, it will take 20 minutes. But at least you will get some message from the entire. Because of course some things are lost in translation.
Right.
But get something. It must just not be empty listening. That itself has ajr, it has reward. but make it more effective.
Even if it happens in the last day, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
Right? Everything and every third person has a different perception in life, and everything has a certain time also. Thank you so much, Shaykh Sahb. Such a pleasure to have you over as always. और मुझे पता है बहुत सारे लोग ये सोच रहे होंगे कि बस इतनी जल्दी शो खत्म भी हो गया, but you have to promise to come back again. Inshallah. So I think हमने promise ले लिया Shaykh Sahb का, तो next जो episode होगी उसके अंदर we would love to touch upon the second and the third ashra as well. थोड़ी सी और बातचीत भी करेंगे. Signing out with the quote also. Thank you so much for watching. Ramzan Mubarak to all of you, and keep it locked to the S stories right here on Sophiya Anjam's official YouTube channel every Friday 7 p.m. एक quote है जो मैं share करना चाहूँगी, and I found it very appealing. It goes something like this: Faith is all about believing. You don't know how it'll happen, but you know one thing for sure, that it would happen. On that note, have a great evening, and may God bless everybody. God bless. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, so if you like the video, you can comment also, you can subscribe right now on my official Sophiya Anjam's YouTube channel, which of course is called the S Stories, this show right here, right now, every Friday 7 p.m. Do not forget to watch. You can join us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. We are there, and I'll catch you very soon.